In this, I'm going to share with you 3 scenarios of working with a recruiter, and primarily after passing that original screening round. Okay, number 1 here. The first scenario is when you've done an amazing job, amazing screening round with them, to the extent that they would offer you to apply for an even more senior role that you originally planned to. And this actually happened to me as of recently, when someone applied for a senior TPM role, and because they had a great screening with their recruiter and with someone at the company, they thought, hey, this guy could be a great addition in our team as a principal TPM, not just a senior one. And the candidate, said, hey, why not? On the reasoning that, hey, if I failed the principal TPM, they would hire me for the senior TPM. They gladly accepted. Well, long story short, in the end, they failed the principal TPM, and they were no longer interested in a senior TPM either. Okay, so basically, my advice to you is to know where are your limits and know exactly where you come from and where you're going in a job interview. In this case, the candidate, by simply accepting the final interview round for a principal TPM, it was outside of their strength. It wasn't their strength. Their feedback from the interview was that, hey, Dan, I was expecting this to be a technical interview for a TPM, technical PM role, when in fact, principal TPM was far less technical, was based on other stuff, right? Second scenario I'd like to share with you working with recruiters is interviewing advice, okay? To summarize this very quickly, unless you ask them smart questions, you will receive misleading information from them, okay? Number of examples. Is my interview going to be technical or behavioral? Well, if you don't know what your role should be all about, then a recruiter is not the best person to ask, okay? Second, what should I prepare for the job interview? Again, it's you applying for the job description that you're applying for, not the recruiter. The recruiter can give you some advice, but they will give to the best of their knowledge, and they don't have your subject matter expertise either. They're not supposed to know much about what you do. Even though they do, and sometimes they ask you some very difficult technical challenges, but still, what to prep on is a candidate thing, not a recruiter thing, okay? Length of your answers. So I was amazed how many candidates take the bite to ask this to recruiters, and the recruiters will say something else, 2 minutes at most, not more than 2 minutes, never take more than 2 minutes. And which is terrible interviewing advice, if you ask me, because, the length of your answer would depend on the day you have. If you have a bad day and you cannot speak quickly, then probably you need more than 2 minutes to say everything you want to say. Or in some roles, it's impossible to cram everything into 2 minutes. And plus, the normal candidate in job interviews is superficially prepared, and therefore they cannot speak at length with his answers. So long story short, length of answer is not a smart interview question. And maybe one more. Many people go stressed out into job interviews, and they share this with the recruiter. Hey, I'm stressed out, and so on and so forth. And the recruiter will say something along the lines, don't worry, you're an exceptional candidate. It's only going to be a formality. This happens. This does actually happen with job interviews. And then they make you feel so comfortable that you skip preparing your job interview, and then boom, they grill you you get the grilling during the final interview rounds, and then that's it. So long story short, ask them smart questions if you expect the same. Okay? The third scenario I wanted to share with you is a pretty straightforward one, especially for more senior types of roles. These offers are being given on a first-come, first-served basis. And what happens here from experience is that oftentimes your communication will not be the best with the recruiter or whomever that is going to handle this scheduling. And the challenge is that some of you have a hard time understanding and accepting that they have the upper hand with the scheduling, both because they have the upper hand overall in the process, but primarily because the job offer is extended on a first-come, first-served basis. So it's in your interest that you keep a good enough rapport with the recruiter to have an efficient communication to get stuff done, a goal-driven approach ideally. So these were my 3 tips. Hopefully you found this useful, and thank you very much for watching.